Hello, good morning, and welcome to Oak Hill Cricket Club. Oak Hill Cricket Club is situated in the heart of the Garden County of Ireland. I, of course, refer to County Wicklow. Lovely to have you with us this morning for Game 3 in the Arachas T20 series between the Scorchers and the Typhoons. Earlier on, Alan Lewis was out in the middle and conducted the toss, and here's what happened.
Welcome to the third in the Arachas 20 Interprovincial Women's Series. I'm joined here by the match referee Kevin Gallagher, captain of the Scorchers Gabby Lewis, and Typhoons Delaney. Kevin, would you top please?
Head. It's a head. We'll have a bath.
Okay, Laura, I'm here. Laura, you've won the toss and elected to
I could do that and get right aggressive. We're going to take 5 runs on the board.
and lots of looking at two fabulous series victories against Scotland and Holland. What do you want to take out of this particular series?
I think going out and putting big scores on the board and Ireland's putting in good spells. I think overall the last couple of months we've performed well as an international side. I think it'll give us a lot of confidence going to the qualifiers. But yeah, another opportunity to go out here, put some performances in and time in the middle.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
And Gabby, what would you have done had you won the
We
toss?
would have had a ball, so we're happy enough.
You're happy to bowl.
Yeah, we've got two new well, obviously Emer Richardson, an all-rounder, and Carrie coming back from injury, so that's brilliant to have them two back in and hopefully they can put in some good performance in the Scorchers today.
And you must be really excited with what's ahead. What are you looking forward to doing through these three matches?
Obviously, I'm sure get some high scores on the board, and same with everyone going into the tournament, and those trying to first spot to ever in December, so important series.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Gabby. So concludes the toss. Typhoons have won to have a little. Well, there you have Typhoons. One elected to bat, and interestingly, also the Scorchers, captained by Gabby Lewis, would have fielded. So it's honours even before a ball is bowled. And again, the beautiful Oak Hill Cricket Club here in the heart of Wicklow. It really is one of the most picturesque sights you can have for any game of cricket. And we are eagerly awaiting the third in the series of the Arachas T20 Interprovincial Series. Really interesting series, of course. The Scorchers won the 50 over complement, and we're now into Game 3 of the T20 complement, and so much to look forward to for girls, many of whom will be representing Ireland in the qualifiers, which are going to be so important at the end of August, and lots to look forward to from an improving Irish team. Of course, two series victories against the Scots and also the Dutch. Also, what we saw is types of things that can happen in T20 cricket. You can have one bad day at the office, one team to qualify. The Dutch winning the last of those matches in a trunk 15 over game will certainly add spice to what Ireland may have to do in that qualifying series. So lots to look forward to.
Absolutely, Alan, and I suppose I should mention how delighted we are that the day is cleared up, because on our way down to Oak Hill this morning it was wet and murky and damp, but certainly as the morning has gone on it certainly burnt up. We can see the coast there ahead of us, we can see British Bay, and so we're in for what I'm sure will be a thrilling day's cricket. Just to remind you that we have two games for you here today, one starting at 11 a.m. and game 4 of the series will start at 3 p.m.
Yes, and they make their way to the middle. Paul Reynolds, who is certainly the peak of his game, having umpired and been part of the South African series. Wonderful season for the men in July, in balmy, beautiful weather in Malahide. And Steve Wood, his partner, as the Scorchers make their way out to the middle. So we said the thing that we can be assured of, weather forecasts are pretty good these days, and there's the promise of afternoon sunshine. And we all look forward to hopefully an uninterrupted day's cricket.
Yeah, I think you've got it spot on. I think we're going to get a really good cricket. The forecast is for it to improve, and I'm sure we're in for a couple of thrilling games.
And it looks as Hannah Little is taking the new ball, and she's going to be bowling to slip. 3 in the offside, a wideish third man, interestingly employing sweeper early on, and 3 on the leg side, all saving 1, which is interesting.
And first time we see Mary Waldron feature in a T20 this year. Mary opening the batting with Rebecca Stoker. Important couple of games this for Mary.
Yeah, very important, and this will be actually very keen to make sure her batting will make her competitive. Sean Kavanagh has done ever so well this year, really improved in all aspects of cricket. So Hannah Little to underway. And again, that's one aspect that I've noticed the general level of improvement. That plays to the right hand type of position for her, of course, left-handed. And Hannah just has to get into her straps.
Yeah, I think, when you saw the series against both the Netherlands and Scotland earlier on this field, was some of the running between wickets. It's really of a very hundred. Plenty of chirp out in the field there to start the day.
Well, it was something I noticed, and again, the general level of camaraderie. Amongst those, of course, they're playing against one another now in what is a Super Twos competition. Oh, and that's a diving chance for Shauna Kavanagh. It was a great. It was one of those ones that either sticks or it doesn't. He went across for a slip. It was never going to slip, and it just got her at the edge of the tips. Would have been a nasty catch, and she held on to it. But 1 run for Waldron. She's off the mark. Sometimes you need chances like that. It would have been self.
Diving low to her right. In comes Hannah Little. Well placed. Middle to the total. No doubt, mind you, with the quality of keeping that Shauna has shown throughout the season, she'll be a little bit disappointed with that.
Well, I think it was one of those that either sticks or it doesn't. But I think the most important aspect for her is general level of on the other side of things is Hannah Little comes in. Not really a huge amount of pace to playing those types of shots square the wicket. Interesting that Gabby kept square leg in, so it's the sort of thing that if Hannah Little can keep the ball full, it's wide. If not, she might have a penalty.
Yeah, a brave shot to play at this stage of the innings, but a single.
Such a stellar year, and there must be a very proud family, the Litts, all involved in the game of cricket and playing at the highest level. And it's great to see, and it's probably part of, if we think about it, the family connections, playing the game, part of the tapestry, should I say, of Irish cricket.
Never was that as evident as at the toss today, when father and daughter spoke to one. Nice moment that. Lou, you've enjoyed that?
Certainly did. You pulled into that one quite tidily. You throw me the skip pass, but I gladly accepted.
No better man.
So Leah Paul coming into the attack, and interestingly again here, with the field that's been employed here, she's probably up to bowl. Certainly fourth or fifth on, interestingly, Hannah Little. And this is something I kind of wonder about. A huge amount of pace on the ball. She's taking Hannah Little to 45, which perhaps wouldn't be something I would be keen to do. 5 out of 4 on the off, and this isn't that happened in the Dutch series, and it could be a talking for later. And again, you see that line. Hannah Little was over inside backward point, squeezing that area square on it. The ball can keep herself disciplined enough to bowl. She can be very.
Have been very effective all season, both for Arian and for the Scorchers. Nicely played. Should be 2 is a lot at stake today with the Scorchers 1 up in the T20 series. They, of course, will be looking for today, Alan.
They certainly will. If they get here today, they will. And interesting too that Gail has placed herself out on captain of the side. Generally speaking, in the circle, rallying the troops. The chance it's gone. Rebecca Stokel sweeping, and she's been very, very well caught. Such a limit to be Richard Craig, something that we spoke about through the international series. This propensity to look to hit the ball square, as opposed to straight down the ground off the slower bowlers. And Rebecca Stokel has perished, and that's a very important breakthrough for the Typhoons. It brings Laura Delaney, who's in excellent form, captain, of course, of the Typhoon. But and it'll be interesting to see whether they're able to change the field, because we'll take a away on that area of profit for her with them. And 2 very experienced candidates in terms of leader.
Well done, Laura.
I think this is a much better field for Leah Paul. If she can just get a line right, and that's good from Delaney, looking to in the ascendancy early on, advancing kind of that extremely useful performer and very valuable to the Irish setup. But that catch was at an awkward height, Heatley.
So she made it very comfortable. Well played and equally well fielded.
Again, that Emma Richardson. Very piece of fielding. Real challenging field this. Gabby Lewis looking for And 6 fielders on the offside. Heatley to force the batters to play to that area of strength. And again, Loiney quite rightly looking to hit the ball as these fielders against something else. I remember having a whenever he was playing, I hit the ball to the side that's got most fit. See Mary Walden on the full there on the boot.
Yeah, that sir, we are Alan. That looked close enough. You get inside edge on it, but it was a strong appeal on the Hannah Little, who has started very well this morning in Champs.
I think appealing is another feature, Heatley, that sometimes you don't commonly. Some area of
feature which you excelled in, if I may say so.
I did enjoy an appeal, but I think it's very important. If you think something is close, you've got to give it everything. Skinny umpire for an affirmative.
No doubt about it. Cricket is littered with good and bad appealers.
That'd be something that, as the bowler, I wouldn't be at all worried about. Looking to squeeze where, because Hannah Little doesn't bowl great pace. She gets it full. She's accurate. I won't be at all happy to see Mary Waldron looking to go square of the wicket.
Got to ask you, Alan, did you see much of the Cincinnati Netherlands? Nicely played. Oh, that's superb field.
And you can see their brilliant film, Laura Moritz, and that's another feature that, in all round terms, for the women's game, Ireland has improved. And I think another factor in that is, and again, it's just something, obviously, I've spoken to Ed Joyce, the head coach, about this. Ideally, he'd prefer teams, compared to my own view at present, that if we can have majority of the better players playing against one another, one is going to bring the best out in them. And another feature I think I'd like to see is that more of the players for their clubs perhaps play at whatever level for their men's team in the longer format of the game, get as much cricket in the middle as you can. And this has been a good start by the Scorchers. 11 for 1 now at the 3 overs gone. They'll be very happy with where they are at present.
It's a brilliant start. Leopold continuing her spell. Delaney just sort of paddle sweeping it round the corner for a single. I was asking you about the Netherlands series.
Yeah, Netherlands series by and large was very good, but it also showed you when you get a bat at the office what it can do, and with only one to qualify, it's something that when I looked at the 2 series, in fact, I thought the Dutch overall, in terms of their attitude to their cricket, the way they went about it, were probably better than the Scots. So it's going to be a very, very interesting qualifying campaign. But Ireland will be happy with where they are. I'm sure the coaching staff are. Sometimes I'm not going to say no one ever wants to go into a game to lose, but if you take something from it, that's what you want. And if I was to take anything from that, it's just when you come under pressure, you've got to just take your time a little bit longer than you may necessarily do. Make sure your field placed. The last game is an example. They only needed Leopold bowling 19 or 3 over. They still have to get them. No sweeper on the side. First ball hit for 4, just loosened whatever pressure may have been there away. And again, if you think about it logically here at Heatley, Leopold's into her 2nd over. I think she's been, well, obviously she got a wicket, but she's been hit on the leg side once. Aside, she has 5 fielders. And again, interestingly, maybe on a player basis, Delaney's so strong.
Certainly become a big player for Ireland over the last couple of years. Leopold plies her trade with Marion Cricket Club.
Again, that's a good single, but probably Hannah Little should have done a little bit better. And so much of field position. And again, just an interesting one here for Leopold would be, with Mary Waldron trying that tinkle scoop, perhaps a little Catholic gully or something like that, to make her think a little bit differently. They're on top here.
From wide. Waldron will be a little bit disappointed she didn't hit the gap there. Still waiting for our first boundary this morning.
Very interesting thing, again, no one has low force. Mid-off still in. It's gone on. Wickets. Gone, indeed. And I see what will be. Kerrison there. Excellent piece of work from her. And that hesitation has been for Delaney. She hesitated initially, looking to squeeze the ball away on the leg side, and she'd be pretty disappointed with that.
I'd say it was a superb throw, Alan, right over the top.
One more interestingly, now how often do we see it at top level cricket? The bowler doesn't get back to the stumps, and that was something Leopold did ever so well. So 15 for 2 at the end of the fourth over. So the vastly experienced Joyce to the wicket. Oh.
I think Hannah, by her body language there, thought that she could have the wickets there. Uppish on the part of Cecilia.
Well, the value of her spell this morning, Healy, is she kept the ball up. She's brought the forward on every occasion. She's great.
Little bit of swing there, Alan.
Yeah. She has the ability to take the ball away from right hand a little. And they're on top of the world at the moment, the Scorchers. Typhoons really struggling here in its opening power play. Not only have they lost 2 wickets, but they're phones into the fifth over. Having won the toss and elected to bat. Oh, and a good close too. It is indeed. Shilling across front leg. And she's gone. And it's great work from Hannah Little for the Scorchers. And it brings the end of Cecilia Joyce. And really, that looked pretty completely.
Absolutely, and it's no more than Hannah Little deserves. She's bowled an excellent line or more. As you so rightly say, she's kept ball up to the bat and has reaped 2 rewards there. Well bowled, Hannah Little. So having won the toss and elected to bat, Typhoons are in a spot of bother here, Alan.
Very much so. 3 wickets down, and it's the great Andrew Leonard chant. If you lose 3 wickets in the power play, you lose 90% of your games. We'll quote it again. Keep him. I'm sure he might be on audio before he talks his way through another second 11 game. Pembroke and all the wickets he's going to get. He's in stellar form and could resist the game today. Not to be with us, being as his dulcet tones and facts and information and everything that's the joy of cricket. Andrew Leonard. All our viewers around the world will always enjoy his commentary and his insight into the game. But today is playing day for A. Leonard.
Well, I think having had the unbelievable day last week against the YMCA when Lendog up a 7 for, you can understand his want to play again today. Comes Little. Nicely played.
It's a good shot from Georgina Dempsey. Nice a positive shot away in the offside, but
I've got to say, Alan, Georgina Dempsey is one of the young cricketers who has really impressed me this year. She is a superb fielder, bowls with a degree of pace, and has scored a century for her own club this year. So a fine all-round cricketer. Another good shot from Georgina Dempsey. Started very positively.
and a little full again. Georgina Dempsey missing out there. Brings it into the 5th over with the 15 for 3 and in all sorts of trouble here.
They certainly are in all sorts of trouble. Been a
In 3, 2.
Welcome back, everyone. Sorry about that little pause, but not much has changed. The score still remains 15. It's 3 wickets down, 3 balls into the 6th over. And I'm delighted to be joined by Harry Texter. We were talking earlier for the 2 of these games. Had a very good start by the Scorchers, Harry.
Yeah, usually I think Hannah and they've been in tandem and they've both really on set side fits and they've been too good for the Typhoons.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And it's interesting, too, to note that, again, Leopold had bowled a really good line, and it was something commented on the Dutch series that in the way from the right-hander bowling fourth stump, she tended to bowl to 5 on the leg side, whereas perhaps my preference would have been for 5 on the offside. Harry, squeeze that area square of the wicket on the offside.
I think it's an interesting one in the game, and something I've noticed watching them this year is how straight they set their fields. Like particularly with the pace bowls, like, you don't actually really need men behind, particularly on the left side, like a typical 45 on the left side. So having that extra man, maybe a catch on the offside, the position of the game for wickets, or maybe, like you said, turn the ball away. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Shot beautifully. Straight to 45.
She'll feel very bad that she missed out there. And again, the poorest ball Leah Paul has bowled in her spell, but that's the end of the power play, and a real disappointing one for the Typhoons. 3 wickets. Here's the score.
It's been a great start by the Scorchers. You know, it was started by Hannah Little, the line and length she bowled, particularly here in Oak Hill. And a little bit of assistance off the pitch, and she held a lovely line. So they started beautifully, and it looks like she's going to keep going, is it?
It certainly looks like that. And all 3 overs, 1 for 9. I remember years ago in the early days when I was playing, Davy Houghton, who was our coach at the time, said if you can get in through a bowl of 10 overs between 25 and 30, I don't care when you bowl. And if you bowl them, I don't care either. That's another big chance, and she's gone also. That's fantastic from Hannah Little. She's bowled with such discipline this morning, Harry, hasn't she?
She's been fabulous. It's the length, though. It's the length that's so important, and she's hit the stumps more often than not. Like you see here, looks like it was just pad first, hit on the toe, and looks like that was crashing into leg stump. A good decision there, and you know, it's just reward for a brilliant spell, and you know, it's credit to the captain as well for keeping her on and giving her the chance. She's bowled excellent this morning.
Credit to the captain indeed. It's been interesting. Maybe I'm a touch old school, Harry, but I saw the captain of the Scorchers lounging out at long on, early stage of the power play. You might like to be in the circle area, checking your angles and various different things. Something I do notice, don't get me wrong, William Porterfield did it a lot. You know, you want your best catchers in what you believe are maybe the position. I'll take a step down, Harry, in that. I say maybe jocularising.
She likes fielding on the boundary, Gabby. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, I would have always thought that way, but they see it a lot in the likes of the IPL and franchise tournaments. If they're the best fielders, you want them in the best positions, and Gabby certainly is one of the better fielders.
Of course, it's another thing for you because you've captained at every level yourself, from under 13 right through to Ireland Wolves, and it seems to be a role that you really like.
Yeah, I've done it my life, and it is something I like. And like anything, it comes with its challenges at times, but I think finding that balance between focusing on your own game and the rest of the team is what I'm striving for. But yeah, I really enjoy it, and it's a great challenge. And you know, the last time I captained was actually down here in Hill against Hollanday, and it's just such a great venue for cricket. So look forward to seeing some good cricket again today.
I think you might feature also in one of the photographs of the year from down here.
Yeah, Oisin's a brilliant photographer. That was a good one. I was chatting to him about it. He loves shooting down here with us.
But it was an absolute, hasn't seen it. Get yourself onto Oisin, because it is a most unbelievable sports picture. It had everything. You in the air, ramping whoever it was who was bowling with the most beautiful scenery in the background. And I say, if we can get cricket into photograph, that'll do me, Harry. What we'll do the Typhoons here is a wee bit of positive intent. This has been such an impressive spell, Hannah Little. I don't actually think every ball she's bowled has been legitimate, and there hasn't been a short ball in this spell.
It's been so impressive, and you know, you can see the pressure that's building. You know, Lillian Dempsey here, she'd be pressuring none off 4 balls, and you know, she'd be hoping just to get down the non-striker's end here. But Hannah spelled fabulously this morning. And again, there it's an excellent spell of bowling from Hannah Little, and you know, she deserves all the plaudits she's getting from her teammates. High fives there. She bowled beautifully this morning.
Really, really well. And top marks to Hannah Little. Been a fantastic spell of bowling. And it's really difficult to see where the Typhoons are going to go from here. 15. And it's been tough going for them. As Gabby Lou now rings the changes. Leah Paul coming off, and Emma Richardson coming on. And one of the things I noticed through the Dutch series, Emer has a very fundamental, very good off-spinning action, but for me can tend to be a little bit loopy. I think if she can try and maybe get a bit more pace on it, have to kind of bowl it into the pads. A lot of times you tend to notice that when they do that in the women's game, there's this ability to get deep in the crease. What you need to do as a batsman to force the ball away on the leg side doesn't happen that. Whereas obviously if it's looped, it's easy to pull the ball.
I think it's an interesting one. Like you said, it's a lovely traditional offside. But you would have thought Maryland would be looking to sweep or even reverse sweep here. I was actually out in the High Performance Centre training on Tuesday, and Doc and Emer and Mary were batting against each other in the nets for an hour, I'd say, each of them, and both of them were going at each other quite hard in the net. So this should be a good encounter here between the two of them. They've had a lot of practice against one another. But I'd say they were building this one up for a while, and that's...
Yeah, it'd be interesting. And rightly bringing the sweeper in the offside. You want to strangle now, Harry. Strangle is going to be the key here. And
I think this is where if you're a batter, if you're in Georgina Dempsey's shoes here, I certainly would be feeling like I get off shot, you're hitting here enough on off seven. You also have more time you think of these, so you say the end, try rhythm, work with Mary Wilson. And that's a slide hard into the next side. That'll be the way that shatters a lot of the Typhoons.
that type of feeling, Harry. And it was interesting. We spoke obviously through the South African series, that second match when, early on, whatever you were, 13 or 30 odd or whatever it was, and then exploded towards the end to really play one of perhaps the best innings I've ever seen you play. And again, it's that, what is it, when you're in that moment, there's a moment when you kind of get a scoring, you really take a big deep breath and you go, "Ooh, okay, I'm okay.
I think for me, you can only really talk about yourself and these sort of things, but for me, it's having that belief in yourself, knowing that you can catch up, and I think knowing that you have a certain bowler that you feel like you can take down a little bit later on in the innings, and just backing yourself to absorb that little bit of pressure when you first come in. There always is that little bit of pressure, regardless of who you're playing, and you can absorb that pressure and back yourself to catch up later. I think that's always the key, and someone like Andrew Balbirnie does that beautifully. Some of the best knocks I've seen him play, even 2 off 20 or 6 off 25, and then he scores on a ball 100. So it's that having that belief in your own ability to catch up and giving yourself a little bit of time to get used to the pace of the wicket and find your feet before you open up your shoulders a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it's, the thing as well that's particularly in the early part of your career, and games come fast for you guys these days, but that surely give you, really a belief that anyone you play against now, you can do. It's a wonderful place to be. As Conor Murray comes into the attack, she's been out for all with again, one of the more improved bowlers this year, 50 over kind of really well, and he's king of this condition, a little bit loopy in her first 2 deliveries, but that's an excellent shot again from Georgina Dempsey, and again the value of looking straight.
That's a beautiful shot, and she looks like she's just found a little bit of rhythm, like we're speaking about there, Regina, and that's a great shot. Use her feet, get the ball on full and just hit hard, then again nice and straight. And he said Carl beautifully in the Arachas Super 50 earlier in the year, and she had real control of her next one, which is really the impressive trait with Danny Leitner.
That's going to be more runs, indeed it is, and it's going to be another boundary. And Conor Murray just being a little bit loopy here, whereas in the 50 over series she just tended to fire that ball in wicket to wicket, forcing the ball, and that's just far too loopy, and it's meat and drink, and it excellently put away by Georgina Dempsey. And again, one of the things when you do meet the ball on the full, Harry, it's so important to hit a gap.
Yeah, and I think that just shows maybe the value of positive intent, looking to score and looking to hit the ball hard and straight. She's really put Cara Murray under pressure here in this over, and maybe Cara hasn't bowled a lot recently in games, and she might be feeling a bit nervous. And I think Georgina's identified that and tried to get after her here, which is a good tactic, I think.
I'm intrigued to talk about the value of being straight. Again, she thinks again, that's going to be more. That'll be 4 more. And this is fantastic stuff from Georgina Dempsey, showing real character. Struggled a little bit early on, but she's got into groove, and again, just looks on.
Yeah, she's had to do there, and I think that's what we're talking about. She's obviously identified that feels like she can get after Cara here a little bit. From 4 off 10, she's now 16 off 14, and she's really dragging Typhoons back into this game, and they're going to want to keep going.
See, that's the type of delivery that was consistent through the 50 over campaign. And so good from Emma Richardson, that just little bit of Nice loop. Oh, and that's over the infield, and that could be 4 more, Harry, although good chase. Excellent chase from Laura Moritz.
She's the best fielder in Ireland, I think, Laura Moritz. The stop she makes and the ground she covers, she's an excellent fielder, and it's been a trademark of the Irish team this year how well they fielded firstly in that series. Now after the first 20 against Holland, they were excellent, and she's definitely leading that. It's well ball from Emer Richardson, a bit flatter and into trying to tie Georgina Dempsey up. She definitely looks to favour the offside, so in away her arms and going nice and straight. She might have to do something different now.
Interesting change in coming with wicket, where that little bit finer now. Oh, it's a very good shot. That's an excellent shot. It really is. So what must be sing from this? I think that's a great from your team. Harry, that's 2 chop down with spin round, hit it, and 4 runs all the way.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because the Scorchers seem to set quite attacking builds, looking to take wickets. But at this stage in the game, would you be on the more defensive side and keeping the field up? Be looking to spread the field and sort of try and restrict them to the lowest total possible?
I would have, with the former, I think with the position that the Typhoons were in, I would have forced a look for wickets. Wasn't told by certainly Carla Murray's first over, which went for 16 as I remember. But they're still only a wicket away, Harry. You know, perhaps the times get less numbered, but Georgina Dempsey's done a great job team, but now again that's just too loopy. Really trying to it really has to be, because Mary Waldron has missed out there on help yourself delivery. And over her shoulder to Emer Richardson. That was a tough chance. She got herself in a very good position, Harry, to take that chance.
Yeah, it was a difficult catch. I'm not sure if there was a call there. The fielder coming onto the ball, I'd always be an advocate of the fielder coming onto the ball. That's the person who should be taking that catch. But Emer obviously called for that and wanted it herself. But it was a difficult catch, and hopefully for the Scorchers' sake, though, hoping they don't rue that missed chance.
The only thing I feel like there's a breeze going across the ground. It only dropped just a circle, so it would have been tough for Deepman Wicket even to probably make it there. But, you know, having made the clutch she did, Emer got herself into a good position. They're the ones we used to do all the time in practice. One over my shoulder. And again, there's always great delight when you take one of those.
And there's no worse feeling when you drop one. Georgina Dempsey's really used her feet so well here against all the spinners. She's just looked, and it's unreal, but used the feet and looked to hit the ball straight, and the Scorchers have always at least one man up in the circle straight, and she's looked to take advantage of that as they put the mid-on and mid-off now, and square leg comes up into the ring.
I've really enjoyed Gina Dempsey's intent 25-23 deliveries, and she's brought her side back into the game. And at this juncture, myself and Harry will depart, and we'll be replaced by Heat Detector and Gareth Delane.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Harry. 11 overs gone. 47 for 4 now. Mary Waldron on 12. Georgina Dempsey on 25. No sooner do I say that when Mary Waldron departs. It's been a pretty impressive display thus far from the Scorchers, Gareth.
Yeah, Scorchers on top here. Mary Waldron just looking to play that one into the leg side. Probably should have looked at it straight down the ground. Emer Richardson gets the breakthrough.
Yeah, absolutely. 47 for 5 now. We're in the 12th over, and I should have said, and I never got the opportunity to say, welcome, Gareth. It's great to have you with us today, and I hope you enjoy your day.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And of course, I should open up. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. Happy to be down here today.
Great. We'll talk about your injury and how it's progressing in a few minutes' time. But for the time being, Emer Richardson continues herself from the Dublin Road end. Like all her colleagues from the Scorchers, has bowled very well this morning. It's been a pretty impressive display from Georgina Dempsey, Gareth. She's looked very impressive thus far.
Yeah, she's certainly been tucking into the spin anyway. She's used her feet very well. She didn't allow Cara Murray to settle at all. She's doing the right thing, obviously, not a bother, but T20 has still got to keep going hard, try and get some runs on the board.
Absolutely. Georgina joined at the wicket by Jane Maguire, one of the tremendously promising young cricketers that Ireland are producing. Jane plays cricket out of the Hill Cricket Club, North County Dublin. I look forward to seeing Jane and Georgina. It's well hit. It should just be the single. Well fielded is just the single. Super throw. Well backed. So I've got to ask you, we were talking about sort of family connections, Gareth, and of course your sister is Laura Delaney. Do you get nerves watching her?
Yeah.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, well, not the last few weeks. She's been batting very well.
Superbly.
So she'll be disappointed about today, but she'll have a chance later on to try and rectify that in the second game.
Absolutely. She's...
Another
And
wicket
there's the
there,
wicket,
Emer.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Emer Richardson providing more ammo for the Scorchers here. If we look at this, beautifully bowled.
It's gripped that one there.
Yeah.
Switching outside off and then coming back in the middle.
So, that's the end of Jane Maguire. She departs. So, a very important knock this now for Celeste Rack as she made her way out to the middle. Someone's really got to stay with Georgina here, Gareth. Give her as much of the strike as possible.
Yeah, well, Celeste has done this season coming in towards the end of the innings and get a crucial run, so they've still got another 8 over, so in that, the way Georgina's batting, they'll probably be able to get to 100 on the board, and then hope that might be enough to put some pressure on the Scorchers.
Yeah. They've certainly applied the heat here this morning, the Scorchers. 50 for 6. Celeste Rack wearing shirt number 2.
Change up there, you look like a leg spin.
So, getting back to yourself, you've had a couple of months, Gareth, and so just that's a little bit about the injury and where you are now and what your plans are next couple of months.
Yeah, so about 2 months off now. So I tore my lateral meniscus knee, and making a
And special machine tomorrow morning, Gareth.
Yeah, it's an Alter G, pretty bit of equipment. It's a thread essentially you zip yourself into. They give you a special pair of shorts, and you zip yourself into it, and creates a vacuum where they pump air in, which can misfield there.
Lara Moritz into the attack. 2 more to the total, 2 more to Georgina Dempsey. Sorry, Gareth, you were saying?
Yeah, so it allows you to run at not at 100% to your full body weight at the moment. I think I'm at around 60 or 70%. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of like you're in space a little bit. It's a weird feeling. It lifts you up off the treadmill, so it's pretty cool.
Well, of course, I and everybody involved in Irish cricket wish you well with that, and we look forward to seeing you back in the green of Ireland on your future. When we hope to get playing again?
I think we're running the T20 Interpro Festival mid-September, and North. I think we're on track to get back to that. And
it's continuing her Brazilian end. She's certainly been one of the standout cricketers thus far in the Super Series, both in the 50 and the 20 over format of the game.
Yeah, it's very good. She's been able to get runs and wickets, which is crucial. So she was very impressive last week against it as well.
And is a superb fielder as well. Very athletic in the field.
Yeah, it's gorgeous feeling, especially in the 6 overs. It's been very impressive. Didn't let the pressure off the Typhoons at all.
So in comes Moritz, right arm over the wicket. Another good shot from Georgina Dempsey. I don't think it'll go for the boundary. No. Well fielded out there. It's just another 2. As you say, she's certainly used her feet very well this morning, Georgina Dempsey. A really brilliant young cricketer. Plays her cricket with Phoenix Cricket Club. Of course, her Theo, a very fine cricketer himself.
Shot.
Beautiful shot. Oh, one of the gorgeous shot so far this morning. It's another 4 to the total. Just pierced the field there. And
just getting the front foot slightly to give herself the room to throw her hands through the arms.
yeah, certainly you could nearly put that down as being one of the shots of the day from Georgina. In comes Moritz. Nicely played. And so that concludes the 13 over. 13 overs gone. 58 for 6 now. So you were saying you're targeting the last T20 Fest year, just to be played up in the NCU region mid-September?
Yeah, that'd be about 3.5 months post-op, which I think is within the time frame that I was given anyway. So just keep the head down for the next weeks, try and get some.
You must begin to get back playing cricket, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's never nice being on the sideline watching everyone else play and enjoy their summer while you're cooked up on the sideline. So it'll be an interesting start back, but looking forward to it.
You've got to be impressed with what you've seen from your colleagues in this year, Gareth. They've been really impressive.
Yeah, very good start. This first year into the full formats of both T20 and 50 over cricket. Fantastic that they managed to finish off the 50 over campaign win. Very good win against the Northern Knights. I think especially we've been a bit unfortunate with injuries. I don't think we've ever really been able to field our full lineup. So the fact that we've been able to compete and win games has been very good. So
when you look at the fact that really neither yourself or Curtis have been able to play so far this year, it makes what Munster have done all the more impressive, really.
Yeah, it's definitely a very good group squad that we have. We don't maybe have the experience or the firepower that the international players that the other sides have, but we have a lot of guys who've played very well for their club over the last few years and have played a lot of inter-pro cricket over the last few years. So definitely building something there. I think T20 is probably the competition we probably focus on the most, that we can probably win that. I think particularly at the start of the year, the squad that we have is so much.
And that was a chance. It was a difficult chance to Kavanagh's right hand side. Should have mentioned coming into the attack from the Dublin road end. I don't know whether you've seen much of Ashley King this year, but she's been really impressive.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much, but she certainly made her impact in the last game of this T20 competition, taking 5 for 10 off Philman. So just chipped over backward point.
Should be 2. They're going to take 2. They're going to have to go. And she's been given out. Umpire Reynolds raises the finger, and that's a huge blow. Georgina Dempsey has looked in really good nick, Gareth, and
it's very piece of fielding by Alana Dalzell there. Great throw in over the top, and Sean didn't have to do much. Be disappointed with herself. Georgina probably needed the dive there to make sure she got it, but a very good effort from her with the bat.
Yeah, she batted Suey and getting a great round of applause from her teammates. Georgie Dempsey scoring 34 after 30. Roberts continues to tumble. 15 for now. We're in the 14th over. We were talking earlier this morning, Gareth, just about the quality fielding between both these teams and at a national level. It's been fantastic to watch over the last couple of months.
Yeah. Obviously, unfortunately, I've had a hiatus of about a year or two from the international fixture. It's definitely an area. Oh, let's say that. Definitely an area that I've obviously put in a huge amount of work in over the last year. Rebecca Goff just come to the crease there and what you want to one staying low, but just as well it was on the stumps.
She might be relieved not to hear that medical.
But no, the standard of fielding this season has been very good. From
Lara Moritz bowling from the pavilion end. Another appeal, but umpire Reynolds having none of it. signalling another leg by. 1 run to the total. Would you consider yourself a good watcher of cricket, Gareth? Is it something you like?
It is, yeah. Not so much though when Laura's playing, get a bit nervous watching her. But yeah.
I think it's one of those things that I'm not sure will ever be solvable, which is watching one's loved ones play cricket, particularly batting. I happened to be out with Barry and Orla Tucker last night, and we were discussing this very subject. And it's
almost a run out chance there. Good feeling by Leopold at that point. Direct hit, I think it would have very close.
She sort of made that position her own this season. Leah has.
Yeah, Barry's. I'm always watching Barry when Lork and Earth or any of his
Well, I
sons
think
are
I
playing.
probably fall into the exact same
clean.
category.
Yeah.
Gareth, it's so difficult. So delivery.
Good take down the leg side by one.
Yep. Remember, this is game 3 in the Arachas T20 series. Game 1 was a washout in your club. I don't know whether you were there that, but
He was
today
in
I'll
the car
never
park
forget.
for a few minutes and the rain came down.
Wind and rain of epic proportions hit us today. In comes Moritz, right arm over. Looks as though it could be another wide delivery. Is another wide delivery. Umpire Reynolds just signalling to our scorers. Judy and Angela Mooney with us today. Splendid scorers, both vastly experienced in their world. Lara will be looking just to adjust the radar here a little bit. In she comes.
A good over so far for the Typhoons. 7 off and still one to come with no risk. So if they can keep going with this for the next 5 hours and build a score that they can try and trouble the Scorchers with, but it'll be very difficult with their batting lineup.
Certainly a formidable lineup, you're right there.
Oh. It's a Jaffa.
It is an absolute Jaffa. We were talking about adjusting the radar. Well, that is exactly what Lara Moritz did. Look at this. Oh,
It's not too much Celeste could have done about
no,
that.
I'm afraid that says,
Pitching middle and off and
Yeah.
hitting the top of off.
yeah. It's one of those which certainly if the national coach is watching, Ed, you'll love on that and will be encouraging more of the same. Interesting to see. 5 overs to go. 67 for 8. Perhaps if they could get 80, 85 runs here, Gareth, they could just make it a competitive total.
Yeah, well, they need to make sure they use these last 30 balls or whatever they have to come. Make sure they put something on the board.
And on that note, I'm going to thank Gareth very much indeed for his contribution. He'll be with us right throughout the day. But right now, I'm going to hand back to Alan Lewis and to Harry Tector.
Wee bit of a gift there. Ashley King. Reaction Ashley King. She's bowled well for the Scorchers. Some match-winning performances from her. But the Typhoons in real trouble.
She's very strong, actually, Ashley King, doesn't she? She gets the ball down. She'd be one of the fastest bowlers between the two teams, say, fastest bowler in Ireland, potentially.
I think that's where she's regarded at the moment. As you can see here, she's got her left side. She pulls herself in with that left side, and everything comes in a straight line, which is something you want. Again, has that ability with that type of action as well, Harry, to just slightly take it away from the right-hander, which she's just done there. And speaking to her during the summer, she's really enjoyed her time in Ireland.
Yeah, she's been a super addition to the Arachas Super 50 and Super 20 this year. What do you think? If they can up to 90?
But the most important thing is if they can, the overs, use all the balls they can dispose of. And they're the sorts of things that can happen from time to time. Will she get back for two? Probably disappointed there that she didn't.
Yeah, you've got to be taking all the runs you can get out here. You can't be leaving too many ones and twos out there in the field, particularly at 73 for 8. So, like you said, they bat the overs here. They can get up to defendable out on, and if they bowl well, they might be able to pull off a win.
Ooh. Again, backed up well there. That's a good over from Ashley King. So as you say, Harry, 24 balls now. If they can get somewhere close to 90s, in the 90s, it will be deemed very much a recovery. 17-4 at one stage. The Titans were in real trouble until perhaps the innings of the match.
She's really positive intent and looked to score off every ball, and I think that's probably the secret to her success today. And the Scorchers will certainly be taken from that and looking to bring that into their own batting innings.
Well, just while we were off air, I was speaking to Ed Joyce, who spoke about her. The start of the season. Oh, that's a good clip on the leg side. From Rebecca Gott. But she'd very much a closed face, and Ed encouraged her to just open up that face a bit and really help her offside play, which was a stellar part of her performance today. Shots over extra cover, through extra cover, with real strength, and she's quite an athlete. Only 16 years age, or possibly 17. Heard rumours of a birthday, but still extremely young with a huge future ahead of her in the game.
Oh, that's brilliant work. It's unbelievable work from Lara Moritz.
Well, I think there's total confusion there, because I sense that Paul Reynolds was thinking that this isn't going to come to my end at all. Then it did. He's taking evasive action. Looked to me as if Lara Moritz is saying, Paul, she's out.
Was the non-striker in a crease? Was Rebecca in her crease when the stumps were thrown and then ran to the other end?
I don't think so. I think that might have, Paul Reynolds might have missed a trick there, but he'll tell me otherwise. And that's stitched on the back foot. Has it just maybe sneaking down the leg side? It's all happening out here, Harry.
Paul Reynolds has been kept very busy, isn't he? Jeez, it's an exciting ball there. As we see here.
Oh, unless it was just outside the line, Harry, possibly.
That looked pretty stitched. A run out chance here. Oh. And that's another very good over from Lara Moritz. Always targeting the stumps, so it'll be a trademark for her bowling. Gets a lot of holes and LBUs, attacking pads and challenging the batter to hit straight down the ground.
She's gone for all money with the direct hit there. There's no doubt about that. It's, as you say, a very good over from Lara Moritz. And again, Ashley King is now being replaced. Oddly, I would have thought, Harry. We bowled 2 overs. Cara Murray back into the attack.
It's a strange one, all right, but maybe they want to get a few more overs into Cara ahead of sort of busy next couple of weeks for the Irish women.
You're probably right there, Harry. I would have thought there's a lot more of the games themselves, but perhaps with that in mind, looking to get more overs into Cara Murray before the series that may lie ahead. Obviously, competition for places, and there's no better thing than competition, because it's brought the best example out of Shauna Kavanagh. I would say a good hit. Will Gabby Lewis get to it? No, she won't. Should have been probably looking for 2 there, Harry, I would have thought. Gabby Lewis had a long way to go there. Heaved out to drag.
There's definitely going to be run-out chances here, I think. in the last couple of overs, they seem to be taking singles in the ring, a lot of fielders.
Bit sloppy now from the Scorchers. Don't like to see that. How are you? What's your keeper taking the balls nice and tidy?
This is always a test of any team. Oh, and that's brilliant fielding from Emer Richardson there at mid-wicket.
I think it was also really good from Murray. She got back to the stumps. It didn't look like a direct hit. We're going to see more now on replay. That just swept out to the wicket area. Yes, indeed, Cara Murray. Well done, Cara Murray.
Brilliant hands.
It's often a trait that doesn't happen, where the ability is for the bowler to get back to the stumps. Such an effective way of engineering the run out if you can, and that's a great piece of work, as you quite rightly say. As Freya makes her way, last wicket now at the crease, so still 13 balls to go.
It's always the challenge of any team in T20 cricket to take all 10 wickets and not letting the last couple of partnerships put on, valuable 10, 20 wicket, 20 run partnerships can ultimately win, lose games in T20. It's a game of such small margins, and one innings, one partnership can change games. So the Scorchers will be wanting to close this out nice and quickly without this last partnership adding much to the total.
Well, you're absolutely right, Harry. T20 cricket is such a game of momentum, I would call it. I even think back to that second T20 you played against Africa, 58 for 5, and a chance of begging. And within 3 overs, the whole momentum of the match changed, and that's what happens in T20 cricket. And it's so important you stay on top as long as you can. As Emer Richardson continues. Oh, and it's been dropped. And not only has it been dropped, but it's gone for 4. And Harrison, it looks like out there, or indeed.
I can accept that though, Louis. I'd much rather see my fielder go for that at this stage of the game, go for it and drop it, than let bounce in front of them and not even attempt the catch. That does my bin. As a player, people don't go for chances.
Looks pretty close indeed. But Paul Reynolds, no. Everything really is happening at Paul Reynolds' end here today. Did look close.
Swept.
Tired delivery that from him down the leg side. She played that. That's good from Freya Sargent.
She gets through it quickly, Emer Richardson, doesn't she? Really.
And again, I think it's a very good thing that that's better pace too. Goff has done a good job here. Kept the strike rotating. Virtually a run ball. So, as you say, Harry, they're edging close enough to what we talked about the 90s. If they can certainly deal with these 6 deliveries, maybe 94, 95, probably even more with a lusty blow, who knows.
It's an interesting one. They're bowling Cara Murray here in the last. That's good running. That's not bad from this. Obviously, I throw back into the.
Sorry, I apologise to our audience. It's of course Rebecca Goff's down. My apologies. Well, 12 now. So blessed with numbers, Harry, but most of the girls' long hair now, and those ponytails can drift into your numbers, can set to confuse you, and that's well done.
That's good batting from Fraser. Get Ava Canning back on track and hoping that she can hit it to finish things, and like you say, maybe take a bit of momentum for the Typhoons into their bowling. Swept out into the leg side. Only for still.
So probably at the end of the power play, had you offered the Typhoons 90 odd, they'd have taken your arm off for it probably, Harry.
100%, and I think that's centred Regina Dempsey. She batted so well when I had a chance here. too bad. And and it is that they've actually managed to bat their 20 overs. Like I say, they've used every ball, or they will have used every ball, and it just shows you if you use every ball, you can get up there even if it's not looking good.
And as you rightly say, that's the end of the complement to 20 overs, and the Typhoons finished 96 for 9. And from the position they were in, that will please them. And we're only going to know how competitive total that is after the Scorchers have batted, but a little tinge disappointment having had the Typhoons 17-4 at the end of the power play. Not necessarily allowing them get to 96, but who knows? And again, if you look at a lot of the totals around, particularly even at the higher level of T20 cricket, 120, 130 can be very competitive totals. And again, we've had a lot of inclement weather, and it'll be a question really now how the Typhoons bowl, but they feel they have something to bowl at. And there's your scorecard, dominated indeed by Georgina Dempsey, 35 from 31, shots all around the ground with regression, and a little cameo at the end from Ada Canning, 14 from 15, but the rest a pitiful Titan partnership, mainly dominated, as you can see there, by Georgina Dempsey, who's the star performer in that Typhoons innings, and the bowling figures I'm sure will look very good.
Yeah, well, just show those last 2 wickets put on a 30, and that might just well be the difference in this game. If the Typhoons going to win it, they'll look back those 2 partnerships and put it down to that. But the Scorchers bowled really well. Handled up top was exceptional with Leah Pullen, and they sort of carried that on through the end. But they'll be a little bit disappointed, I would have thought, the Scorchers not to bowl them out for slightly less, but they'll put themselves with the bat. Good batting. Gabby Lewis up top will be able to get them off to a fast start and chase the total down.
So there's your summary. Typhoons on a 96. And when we get back, we'll have all the action for you for the reply from the Scorchers in this third of the Arachas T20 Interprovincial Women's Series. So we will be back to you in a short while to bring you the seconds. Well, we're back again as Gabby Lewis and Paul make their way to the wicket as the ground staff take the roller away. Little roller on a wicket that looked firm. Gareth, not too many demons in the pitch, and it'll be just interesting to see what sort of fist the Scorchers make of this reply.
Yeah, from their point of view, they want to come out pretty hard here. First 6 and try and pretty much kill the game. Down and there, obviously from the Typhoons point of view, they'll be looking to do the exact opposite. But their best way of winning here is probably getting 2-3 wickets in the first 6 overs. So if they can do that, then we'll have a bit of a game. But it shouldn't be enough really, 96. With the Scorchers batting on them.
No, it shouldn't. But as you say, one bowler who has impressed since making her way into the international fold. It'll be interesting as a right-hander, which you are, which was someone who kind of prodigiously swings the ball in. It'll of course be away from Leah Paul, a little bit harder for with Mary Waldron up to the stumps. So a challenge kind of knowing where your off stump is to, as you say, the way the Scorchers be approaching this, as you say, try and get most of the job done parlay if they can.
Won't be easy though. The Cannings had an excellent start to their international career, been very economical and taking wickets up top. So the Typhoons will be hoping from her anyway these first few overs here.
Absolutely. And again, it's quite funny because Leah Paul has opened the batting for the Scorchers also, and at international level has been down at 8 and 9. So I'm really looking to impress. Of course, all the selects here with what's ahead. Huge qualifying competition for the girls and good intent to slip in. And again, a game we only spoke commentary, the last 2 wickets put on X30, and they can kind of bring a momentum into your own bowling performance. They may feel they can defend this.
Yeah, okay, but actually rear guard action there at the bat for the Typhoons.
Easy, so you're sporting. That's one for the sister, I assume.
Yeah, oh well.
And again, talking about cricket in Ireland very much being a family affair, of course, yourself and your sister both playing international cricket. Is it a dinner table consumed with cricket chat?
It can be times, but I think we're pretty good. So it's
We're not.
No, there can be some heated debates. I think we usually try to keep it civil enough at times, anyway.
Oh, and behold, she's dragged one on from outside off stump, and Gabby look on first ball, and that will have the Typhoons jumping for joy. Gabby's pretty just hit her the ball, but she's dragged one on from outside off stump, and she's gone.
Big wicket, big wicket for Typhoons. Getting the Gabby Lewis in the first ball.
So lift for the Typhoons. That's a big wicket. And Ian Richardson makes her way to the middle. Of course, back from New Zealand, where she spends quite much of her life, but through these qualifying competitions is back in Ireland now. Again, an pin for her, as every innings you play at this sort of Liz, but from Ava Canning. And as I just see these numbers, go for the belch.
With in-swing bowler, they always make it full everything out there. Not as you say, where you're.
And if you were someone like Ava Canning back into you, would you look at stump? You know, cross where your off stump might be and try and work the ball away on the leg side as much as you could rather than focusing on that offside?
Yeah, probably look to try and play with the swing as much as you can. It's difficult for the bowler if you come slightly more across your stump. Obviously, if they get slightly wrong and then the leg side, then you get the wide. Aggressive start from Emer Richardson. Over wide in the deep attempt, it could have been transfer too.
Like it's the type of hitting zone you'd probably look for. It would be one of your favourite areas, Gareth.
I don't know so much to move from us, probably looking to go. It's good to see positive that from Emer Richardson. Going to let Ava Canning settle into her.
That's good. That's good. Typhoons energetic in the field and a really good first over. Ava Canning getting the prize of Lewis, but also conceding 2 runs.
Fantastic start. Aggressive move with Celeste Rack coming round.
It'll be interesting to just see how the Scorchers go about this. Celeste Rack generally tends to Richardson come down. Like we said, that was one of the real pleasures of watching Georgina Dempsey play. She hits right so well and got over extra cover. Big strong shots down the ground, which I think is the one area I think if I was looking at, you know, the women's game over the course of the 2 series, was very good against Scotland. Less so of the propensity to go square of the wicket. A little bit too much I felt from most. And that's the point I'm just making, that loop she bowls with Emer Richardson.
Got away with that one there, Celeste Rack. Emer thought the ball was going to race away for 4, but it just held up. Outfield fairly slow, given all the rain of the last few weeks.
That's not particularly good cricket really, Gary, is it? Or Gareth, should I say so?
We're with the boundary, so.
Well, again, it was interesting that you say that. I was only speaking of the sad demise of Mike Hendrick, our first professional coach when I was playing, and of course Bobby Rayo, who was part of the team. In terms of always bet on me, first ball of the over, last ball of the over. It was often easy ball of the, you say, bowlers coming in, keep an eye on we are discussion with the captain. For just eases whatever pressure you might feel is on yourself.
Certainly puts the pressure back on the bowler as well. They're then on the defensive for the rest of the over, trying to contain as opposed to maybe trying to be attacking. Good work out in the deep again by Maguire.
And the strength of Maguire is she's very quick to the ball. She's extremely athletic. And I think, again, through the IP50 series, she bowled as well as anyone in a armoury of seam bowlers that Ireland have. Of course, the stellar performer Orla Prendergast not playing today, struggling a little bit with an ankle.
Big loss for the Typhoons. Their number 1 strike bowler, and then a very capable batter in the middle overs for them as well. So certainly miss her today.
Yeah, it was very interesting in the Dutch series. I think her batting again has come on in leaps and bounds, Orla. You know, this whole area, I know both yourself and your sister hold your bat up high. She was, this whole issue of your swing and how you get maximum out of yourself to force a bounty. Just got home. There was nearly a collision there in the middle of the field. Emma Richardson and Leah Paul, but she's just got home.
She can close it out with the dot here. Rack, she's done a good job for her side so far. Haven't allowed the Scorchers to get too far ahead of the run rate, but
And Emma Richardson has walked. She's got a bottom edge on that, and that's a good catch from Mary Waldron. And as you say, Celeste Rack has done a good job for her team. And again, an under edge, and Mary Waldron all over that, and Paul Reynolds not even having to make a decision because Emma Richardson has done it. And Adam Gilchrist on it. David Garr said, I've got a nick on that and I'm gone.
yeah, good sportsmanship there from Emma Richardson to acknowledge the fact that she's hit that one. But yeah.
You a walker, Gareth?
Yeah, I walk.
Okay, that's...
Yeah.
It's a very funny one, actually, because there's always this kind of bone of contention. Did Adam Gilchrist and David Garr on the back of... Now, again, forget DRS and all the areas that they played in, but I'm just wondering on the other side of things, did they get the benefit? Because it always goes with the rub of the green, and I'm a huge kind of believer in that. I remember once, Gareth, in an under-15 final up in Leinster, windy day, but it just shows you, it didn't happen very often, to be fair. Most of the time, if you've nicked it, you said thanks very much and walk on. You got enough benefit of doubt the other way, I always felt.
So you didn't walk, only when it mattered?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying on that particular occasion.
Cup final?
Cup final, you're 15 years of age, you feel it's your day, it's your big gig. I said, no, not on this occasion. I've heard a call from the back of the stanchion, the umpires never gave you out anyway.
Continuing with the canning here, trying to go for the kill early on. Typhoons.
Well, interesting too, they've brought in that sweeper on the boundary, which is, again, good cricket from the Typhoons. Ava Canning right on the money here. And that's your gamble. Obviously.
Can be tricky in the power play, especially opening anyway when the field is up. If you can't get the ball through the gap or over the top, you do start to feel the pressure because your singles aren't there with the fielders up. So fielder has now pushed through, so might be expecting Paul to look to find the boundary on this occasion.
And one thing between these two now, Shauna Kavanagh, one of the quickest in the team. Very much improved cricketer, Shauna Kavanagh, this summer. She's played some very good roles. And I think a part of that, obviously Mary Waldron was away and only just back, but her keeping improved immeasurably over that period of time as well. So interesting here too. Square leg being taken out. Rebecca Goff coming to a backward, very much backward square position. So maybe this is something that the think tank and the Typhoons, of course, they play against each other so often, and I think it's a better competition for it at this point in time within the women's game in Ireland. Gareth, get the better players playing against each other more often.
Can only make you get better playing against the same people or the same teams. They learn your strengths and weaknesses and they try and attack them when you're playing, so it forces you to improve yourself. Very nicely played by Shauna Kavanagh there. allowed the ball to come to her and just played it beautifully in between backward point and short third man.
Excellent shot indeed. Really good shot. And again, it's something that they've employed too. We've talked about this opening of the face, and she's just slid that way expertly through the two fielders on the offside. So they advance to 23. And I'm going to bid farewell to Gareth Delaney, and I'll be rejoined by Harry Tector to take us through the next 5 overs. Leah Paul now 12 off 17. Shauna Kavanagh 4 off 2 as Rack continues.
Feel like this is a big partnership in the game, Louis, don't you? These two players will be looking to take the Scorchers home, get 30 or 40 not out, and if the Typhoons can manage to break this partnership, it's certainly game on.
No doubt about that, and I think one of the features, Harry, is they're both quick. They'll run between the wickets well. But you're right, because I certainly thought there was a bit of sloppy cricket there with Emer and Leah. A lot of runs were left behind. And these are the sorts of things you need to be alive to at this level.
Shauna Kavanagh. They're moving a fielder into 45. I think that was a big gap. She would look to hit that sweep shot she likes so much behind square.
She seems to be bowling that little bit flatter now, Harry, which has been much more effective for her.
Yeah, she certainly seems to be finding her groove, which is great for everyone. Everyone wants to see Celeste bowling well, and that sort of pace is what we like to see.
Well, again, that's a sloppy piece of fielding, and Shauna Kavanagh easily back for 2. But what I was going to say, Harry, there's no better thing at any level than competition. And obviously Carla Murray back from injury. Might be just a bolt for Celeste in the sense of you want to compete against the person beside you. You always obviously want to do well. Oh, there's a mix-up here and there's trouble. And she has just got home.
Great dive. Full stretch dive from Shauna Kavanagh there. Might have just saved her, I think, as we see here on the replay. A little bit of a yes, no, maybe, I think.
I think Leah Paul, in a sense, that ball was hit straight to Ava Canning, and really, there was probably no run there. It certainly wasn't Leah Paul's call. Oh. Been very impressed with Jane Maguire in the deep. She's fielded excellently, real athlete. I'd be interested to see her with the ball in her hand. I think she's a very impressive cricketer, Jane Maguire. And that's very good from Shauna Kavanagh. That's super running. And you can see that coaching staff. Glenn Quirrell over there to our right.
Shauna seems to have really thrived in this new role this year, hasn't she? Up the order, and she's sort of reciprocated that faith in her this year, and she's batted beautifully, not only for the Scorchers but for Ireland as well, particularly in that Scotland series. She was excellent, and it's great to see because she works so hard at her game and she's worked so hard at it for so long. It's great to see the rewards being shown.
Well, I think another thing probably within her own mind is a bit of positive intent, like there's areas technically where she's improved, which has given her a greater range of scoring shots. And I think the other side of things is, you know, having taken the gloves and kept so well, it just feeds into your confidence, because so much of, like, obviously cricket is a technical game, we all know that, but you know, when you're finding so many easier ways of scoring runs, it makes it so much better. But added to the fact that, you know, she was spoken so highly of with her keeping. As Georgina Dempsey comes into the attack.
Georgina be hoping to carry her form with the bat into the ball today. She was excellent earlier, and for the sake of the Typhoons, they'll be hoping that she brings that momentum from her batting into the bowling. She started well.
Well, she has a great sense of purpose about her, Georgina. Certainly we used to see it with the ball all the time, but with the bat today, she's been very, very good, and she'd be disappointed. That looks to be a no ball that's been signalled by Steve Wood, so we'll be having a little circle in the air, so a free hit. Where will Shauna Kavanagh be looking to go here, do you think, huh?
Well, if I was Shauna, I think I'd be looking to go over long on and cow with them up.
Correct.
That's very well bowled. Fired into the block hole. Her action sort of helps that, doesn't it? Slightly slingy, angled in. That was really well bowled.
I think it's probably one of the things that she may work on a little bit to maybe try and get that bowling arm that just slightly bit higher. As you say, she is slingy, which there's no big issue with that, because you have the chance with sometimes an older ball of slanting that ball back in, which she can do quite successfully. But again, we've just got to remember, I think she's just a touch, possibly 17 years of age, Georgina, and again, such an athlete, which is such value, and again, beautifully bowled.
Yeah, she certainly has a lot of potential, doesn't she, Georgina? And you'd hope that she'll be a mainstay for the Irish women's team for a long time to come.
Well, I think that's the one thing we're seeing, Harry. There's been a huge growth in the women's game in Ireland, and that's only to be kind of commended, and obviously with the backroom staff behind and the level of enthusiasm. It was very much a team in transition, obviously post the last World Cup, some major retirements, but there's been a great push with younger players coming into both sides, and it's only augurs well. And again, we talk about role models and different things. Again, your sister herself, Alice, coming in and playing club cricket and loving her cricket, and just everything, as they say, in time. Just let them breathe a bit and get themselves a joy and love of the game first and foremost. You can worry about other things after that.
Yeah, that was a great start there by Georgina Dempsey. Only 2 off it, including the no ball. And the Typhoons are doing well here. They're just pushing the rate up to 5s now, and they'll be open to push that up to 6 with a few tight overs now to these batters. And is this Jay Maguire coming into the attack?
It certainly is. And again, one of her strengths through the 50 over competition, she has an ability to take the ball away from the right-hander and bowls at a reasonable pace. So as you say, Harry, a good start for the Typhoons. As you say, the one thing they'll be looking to do is push this rate up, but nothing to worry about at this point. But you've just got to keep momentum going as a batting team. You don't want overs of 2s and 3s. That's good cricket. It's the ability to get that good ball away for one. Just pick an angle. If you get it to the right or left hand side of a fielder by a metre and a half, you go, invariably you'll get in. And these of course are 2 of the quickest runners in the Scorchers team, but we could have a very exciting finish here.
Yeah, I think that's it, Louis. You know, you bat in partnerships. You know, I think that's a key to batting is, you know, rotating the strike and turn the strike over, particularly with the right hand left hand combination here. It can be hard for a bowler to change the line each and every ball if there's singles every ball. And, with that, if they can rotate, that's when they'll get the boundary balls, and that's when you get the overs of 7, 8, 9, 10 and over. But that all starts with rotating the strike, and Shauna Kavanagh is just under a little bit of pressure now. She's faced 6 stop balls in a row, so she'll be feeling the heat a little bit here, I would have thought.
And I think the one area they'll be looking to is keep it as full as they can. And as you say, that creates this type of edginess. Now that's 3 dot balls in a row. Good from Jane Maguire. And a good field set here. And again, knowing your opposition, square leg out. We know Shauna Kavanagh likes to get it square of the wicket, which is something that I feel there's a little bit too much of as opposed to down the ground, and that's square on the offside. She'd be relieved to get 1. But again, it's good stuff from the Typhoons, this.
And you feel this is a big ball. Louis, last ball of the over. Jane will be hoping to just get out of the over with the worst a single. And, if you're a Scorchers player, you'd love to get a boundary off this ball and take a bit of momentum into the next over. That's well bowled.
Will they push for 2 here? That's good from Ava Canning. Very, very good. She's had a good game, Ava Canning, so far. Removing Lewis' first ball. Batting very well. Dragged partners with her at the tail end of the innings. And you can see there that worm towards the end of the Typhoons innings. It's not so important now. Obviously the Scorchers ahead. But it's very much in the balance, this match.
Why do you think Georgina's come around the wicket here, Louis? Yeah,
probably just to stop Leah Paul in one of her big scoring areas, that she can use the angle of the delivery to kind of steer it there to an area that she profits a lot from, just backward a square. That's a super shot.
That's an excellent shot there from Leah Paul, and it just alleviates a bit of pressure that was building on the Scorchers. Just slightly over pitched, but she's pumped that through extra cover, and it's always a good sign of any batter if they can beat the cover sweeper to their left. It means they're hitting the ball hard through extra cover, and that's an excellent shot from Leah. And she'll be looking to build now. She's 21 off 24 balls, and she's batting nicely, but the job's not done yet.
It was a bit of a gift she's missed out on there. Sometimes possibly taken a little bit by surprise. It's often full tosses like that can throw you a bit, and it certainly looked to Leah Paul. You generally, as a batsman, you look for the ball into the pitch. It's actually something within the men's game, the propensity for batsmen to hit the low full tosses or kind of knee-high full tosses. For any bowler bowling in the mid-80s, where you're naturally looking for the ball into the pitch, it's again a thing that I marvel at.
She's pulling it back well here, Georgina, and it's a simple plan she's doing. She's pitching the ball up and saying, "You could hit my best ball for 4," and Leah managed that in the second ball, but it'd be another win for the Typhoons if they can get out of this over with even a single. The run rate's above 5 now.
Oh, she'll be disappointed there. That's 2 full tosses she's missed out, and you can kind of see it. There's an air of frustration for Leah Paul there, and you're right, Harry. That run rate is now beginning to increase, and it's quite funny. Once it kind of gets above 6, it kind of sends shivers, particularly to a team that are chasing. But it's something, going back to your point earlier when you were asking me the question about, coming round the wicket as an example. Obviously, Josh has 2 of his sisters playing out there today, but he's bowling to the right-hander. He invariably looks to come the wicket.
it's just it's interesting with Josh. Something now batter with left arm away. The way he bowls it, he does get that. He pushes it away from the right-handed batter, and that's so rare as a left armers. Usually, most left armers are looking to bring the ball back into the right-handed batter, and I think that's why he's been so successful, because what he does is actually so rare in the international game.
Runs kind of drying up here for the Scorchers. They're not able to get this rotation going. They've had very few boundaries. And the Typhoons are very much in this game as we move into the 10th over.
And that's well played by Leah, and that's all the Scorchers really have to do, is look to rotate the strike to their best balls and pick off the boundary balls when they come, because they will come. But the pressure is you miss out on those boundary balls when you start facing dots like we saw in that last serve. You're so worried about getting off strike that you miss out on four balls.
And again, that goes square of the wicket from Shauna Kavanagh, and that's a good call too. Excellent piece of fielding again from Ava Canning down there at third man.
The Typhoons' outfielding has been excellent on the boundary. Jane Maguire, Ava Canning, strong, powerful throws in at the keeper, the bowler's end on the one bounce, particularly back into the wind on that far side. They've been excellent. Oh, that's brilliant work.
But she was well in. Leah Paul was well in there. It's a good single, but as you say, great work from Lulu Little there. She's kind of deep on the edge of the circle. You always feel there's one there, don't you, Harry?
Well, I think Leah's missed out on that a little bit today. She's hit mid-off a lot, particularly batting from the clubhouse end without taking on the fielder. And if you go straight away, you're more often than not going to get in, and it's good to see her taking it on a bit more there.
That just drifting down the leg side from Jane Maguire. But again, another very good over from her. And the Typhoons, it has to be said, as we're going to depart, Harry, are buzzing. And to take over from myself and Harry Tector will be Heatley Tector and Gareth Delaney.
Thank you, Alan. Gareth is remaining just outside the commentary booth. He'll join Alan for the last five. So halfway through the innings, 43 for the loss of 2 wickets now. Georgina Dempsey continuing her spell.
And it's a family affair in the combox. Oh man.
Yep.
And Georgina Dempsey, she's done beautifully here, pitching the ball up and forcing the Scorchers to hit strong shots down the ground.
Just straying down the leg side on that occasion. So you're away tomorrow, Harry, for a week's training in the UK?
Yeah, we head off to Millfield in Somerset tomorrow, so we're there for the week, and it should be great prep as a squad before the Zimbabwe series in the sort of end of August and start of September. But yeah, really looking forward to it now, and looking forward to getting away. Hopefully we get the weather. But yeah, Millfield is supposed to be a brilliant facility, and it'll be a hard week's work, but it should hopefully stand us in good stead going into the Zimbabwe series.
A lot of good cricketers have played their school cricket there. I think of Craig Keysvetter, former Millfield boy. Another single. Little on the streaky side, but they all count. Got to ask you about the recent South African series. You enjoy it? And
yeah, it was brilliant. I think to come away with 15 points firstly against South Africa is something everyone would have bitten your hand off. And probably even could have been 20 had we got a full game in the first game, because we were in such a good position before the rain came. But yeah, it was brilliant one-day series to walk away, and I think everyone, particularly myself, learnt a lot playing against that type of team and that type of attack. And the T20 series was a bit disappointing, but I don't think there needs to be and that's a good shot, clipped
Nicely
off her
played.
legs. That's well fielded by Rebecca Stokel out there in the deep. But yeah, I don't think there needs to be an overreaction to the T20 series. We hadn't played T20 cricket in almost a year and a half, so there was definitely a few cobwebs to be blown off, and that's no excuse. But I think the most important thing for us is that we peak when the World Cup comes around, our initial group stage, and I think that's what all these games are about, just making sure that we're ready when that first ball comes down in the first group game.
And certainly, talking about that World Cup, I mean, it's only 8 weeks away now, and no doubt the pending series against Zimbabwe now will be really important preparation for the World Cup.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, 5 games against a top team like Zimbabwe is going to be a real challenge, but it's great to have the prep, and I think we're going to have a really good lead in with different camps and tournaments and series against top teams before the D-Day in October. But I think, like I said earlier, it's all about just making sure that we peak at the right time and making sure our bowlers are nice and clear with what they're trying to do, our batters are in good form, and we're fielding at the best we can do, because that's what you need to be doing, all 3 facets of the game well to be competing at that top level, and that's what we have to do. And like I said, it's just about making sure that when that first ball comes down, we're all firing on all cylinders, and you can't look too far ahead of our first game in the group stage, but our goal is to get out of that group and get into the World Cup full. So that's the plan, and it's going to be a really exciting couple of months. I can't wait to get started.
I and all in Irish cricket wish you well with that, Harry. Really important couple of months coming up. And into the attack now for the Typhoons is the Typhoons skipper, Laura Delaney. She's had such a brilliant couple of weeks with both bat and ball. Took 8 wickets for her club Leinster there very recently, so she's in
And 100.
And 100,
Same
absolutely.
Game. Unbelievable.
Fantastic. She's been a great cricketer for a long time now. Holds the very proud record of being the most capped captain of Ireland. Wonderful achievement on Laura's part.
She'll be difficult on this surface, stump to stump with the keeper up, and at this point in the game, my money's on the Typhoons with Laura coming into the attack. She's going to be a tricky operator here, and they're going to have to hit tough shots off a good length to get through the infield. Oh, that's brilliant fielding by Lulu Little, only missing by a hair, and I think Leah was struggling if she hit there.
It's been one of the real noticeable features about all series between the Typhoons and the Scorchers, both in the 50 over format and indeed in the shorter format. The quality of fielding, and people like Lara Moritz and Lulu Little, really first class practitioners in the art of fielding. Chance, I think it might have just dropped short. Freya Sargent there.
Yeah, you can tell the pressure's building now on the Scorchers. It's getting up to a run of ball now, and you can feel the pressure building on Shauna Kavanagh, and maybe a half chance at mid-wicket there, but as this rate rises, they're going to have to take more and more risks, so the chances will come.
And in comes Delaney, right arm over the wicket. Here's an opportunity. You talked about chances, and the chance has been taken. And Shauna Kavanagh departs, having scored a very useful 15. Here's the replay, Harry.
Yeah, she just looked to hit that in front of square, but it might have been just a little bit wide. And it's a smart catch at 45, but you could sense the pressure was building on both Leah and Shauna, and that's the breakthrough the Typhoons required. And you really have to say it's the Typhoons in the ascendancy now. Laura coming on with 3 overs after this, and you really feel like the pressure's on the Scorchers now to get home.
Yeah, and another key partnership coming up now. Lara Moritz, should I say, heads to the wicket to join Leopold. Lara's certainly been a real threat with the bat all year, Harry.
Yeah, well, I like this from the Scorchers because, you know, Lara only really knows how to play one way, and she's going to come in and hit her shots, and, you know, there's nothing really to lose by doing that. If she scores a quick 10, 15, 20 off not so many balls, that could kill the game. You know, so I like seeing this from the Scorchers, and I think this is a big moment in the game with her coming into bat now.
I had the good fortune, I was out in the High Performance Centre there a couple of weeks ago, and I saw Lara batting, and just how impressive she was. And should say at this stage, apologies to our viewers. We've had some technical issues so far this morning. Hopefully they've been ironed out. The splendid work of the hard-working behind-the-scenes crew from HBV have done yet another sterling job, and our thanks to them, and I hope you're enjoying what is a really good game of cricket. In comes Delaney.
And this is your sort of wicket, you would have thought. A little bit of green on top and wobble it both ways, you think?
Yeah. I reckon I might have been pretty tricky on a track like this, Harry.
You and Andrew Blair White in tandem from both ends would have been a fearsome attack,
well,
I would have thought.
As I've told you for many years now, one of the great tragedies that you never saw me in full flow, Harry.
Oh, I did. I saw you in full flow once. I think it was against the Irish women in 2005. You snapped your Achilles and were wheeled off to St. Vincent's Hospital.
To the laughter of my beloved children, I think, on that occasion.
It was my first cricketing experience down in Sandy Mountain YMCA, and I don't know.
I think we'll move on from that fairly rapidly now.
The old Lecca spikes were put in the dustbin after that.
A day I want to forget. So, 51 for 3. The start of the 13th over. Georgina Dempsey. The cry is 2, but I don't think there will be. No, there won't. It's just the single. Shaping up into a good finish this, Harry.
Yeah, I think the game's certainly in the balance now. Almost at a run of ball, 45 or 47 deliveries. Georgina Dempsey into the last over of her spell now. And the pressure's on Lara Moritz here as Georgina Dempsey runs in. Oh, that's a lovely start.
Nicely played. Just pushed out nonchalantly into the covers for a single.
Who would your money be on at this stage? Heatley?
I think this is probably the key partnership for the Scorchers. It's a really good shot. Should just be a single. Is just a single. Right now, I tell you, I think I'll go with the batting side.
Money on the Scorchers. I think there's a lot of pressure now on Leopold to bring it home. You know, she's used 41 deliveries, so her eye is in, and it'll be up to her now to see the Scorchers over the line.
I think that should go, and it will go.
That's really well put away by Lara Moritz there. Just helped it on its way, used the pace of Georgina, and that's flown away from the boundary, and that just releases the shackles a little bit on the Scorchers.
I think as you've alluded to earlier, I think the skipper of the Typhoons could have a very big say in this game yet. She has the balance of her overs to bowl. In comes Dempsey. Right arm over. Nicely played. That's a glorious shot. Got to be one of the shots of the day so far.
Yeah, the pressure is really off the Scorchers now, and that's what we're speaking about. Lara Moretz 9 off 3 straight away, and she's come in and she's played her shots, and this is really changing the game this innings. Even if she gets out now, I think it's been worth it sending her in to do this, because now suddenly only 34 to win, and you know, she's really taking the pressure off Leah Paul at the other end.
Nicely played, well run. Good cricket all round. Yeah, I've no doubt that the head coach, Ed Joyce, will be delighted with what he's looking at.
Yeah, 100%. I think Lara's going to have such an important role to play with the bat, ball and in the field for the Irish women in the upcoming qualifiers. And you know, she's such a talented player, and to have that sort of power coming in down the order with the likes of Orla Prendergast and Emma Richardson, they're shaping up to be a really strong batting unit, as that's carved away through backward point by Leah Paul.
It looks as though it'll be another boundary. Yes, it will. It's been a really good over for the Scorchers, this. Got to mention that really important World Cup European qualifiers coming up the back end of this month, from the 26th to the 31st of August. Ireland, along with Scotland, Netherlands, France, Germany and Turkey. One will go through to the 2022 T20 World Cup Global Qualifier. Won't be easy, Harry, that.
No, it's going to be difficult, and you know, I think with the scheduling of the tournament, they're going to have to play 2 games in one day and then back it up the following day. So it's going to be not only demanding mentally and you know, cricket wise, it's going to be physically demanding on the players, and I think that's what makes those qualifying tournaments so difficult. You know, it's often not just about who you're playing against, but handling the pressure and the physical toll on your body is just as difficult. And you know, they're very lucky with the experience they have in Laura Delaney and Ed Joyce, captain and coach, who've been there and done that so many times. But I think that's going to be one of the real challenges, is how do they cope with that pressure and the physical toll it'll be on all the players, you know.
And sort of day on day cricket, there's no rest days. I think one of the things that, whoops, it's a little bit loopy there. Celeste Rack really getting away with that delivery. I was just saying one of the things that may work in our favour is our first 2 games are against Germany and Turkey, and hopefully that will result, I hope, of course, in a couple of victories and just give us a little bit of confidence. And I think on day 3 then, our second game it's either against the Netherlands or Scotland.
I think it's against Scotland.
Against Scotland. So look, I think the draw is in our favour, the way it's panned out.
100%, and it, you know, I think the Irish team and Ed Joyce, they're delighted with that draw. And but like I said, that's 3 games in 2 days they kind of have to play, and you know, they had great series against Holland and Scotland, but they know from those series that they're dangerous sides and they can beat them. But that's not the worst place to be as a team, knowing that a team is dangerous, even though you're probably favourites going into the games. Knowing that they can beat you if they have a day out is a good place to be, because you know you're going to have to be at your best to win.
Talking about that recent series against Netherlands, you get to see much of it?
Yeah, I was out at the first and last game. They're a bit hampered by the rain. It's
a big appeal by Rack.
But yeah, it was brilliant, and it was great to see all the players really stepping up in different games. Laura Delaney was brilliant in the first game with the bat, Gabby in the second game, and Rebecca Stokely in the third game, and all the bowlers really bowled so well. Orla Prendergast particularly is turned into a star of Irish cricket. She was excellent with bat and ball.
I couldn't agree with your sentiments more. An absolute superstar in the making is Orla Prendergast. Been a privilege to see her ply her cricketing trade so far this season.
Slesrak really looks to have gotten into her groove now, beating the bat and a few LBW appeals in this over. She'll be hoping to make this last ball count of her spell here.
Should just be the single. Well fielded by Rebecca there.
It's been a really impressive partnership here. You know, when Shauna Kavanagh got out, the game was certainly in the swing, but just in a matter of balls, Lara Moritz has really changed the whole shape of the game. She's come in, she's been positive, she's backed her strong shots, and now the Scorchers are 100% in the ascendancy, and you'd expect them to get home from here.
It's been a really good series thus far, both the 50 over and the Arachas T20 series. And you enjoyed your Interpro series. You're captain of the Northern Knights.
Yeah, it's been excellent. I think it was great to be so busy in May, particularly with the one-day cricket that we played. Really competitive, and you know, with this changing of the structure of the tournament, have made all 4 teams very competitive, which was brilliant. And captaining the Knights is a different style of captaincy for me. You know, captaining a team full time instead of just a tour or a series here and there. And it's come with its challenges, but I've really enjoyed it, and it's been a real learning curve for me.
Nicely played from Moritz down the ground. Looking for 2. No, it's just the 1. Well fielded.
Leah Paul's batted beautifully to this point. She hasn't looked flustered. She's faced a few dot balls, but you know, if she gets her side home with her not out, she's done a great job, particularly after losing Gabby Lewis early. Lara Moritz done excellently to get back in her crease there with the little deflection onto the stump. So often you see that change of game, and she's done superbly to get back, as we see the replay here. Just off the inside of her heel and back onto the stumps.
Jane Maguire, the latest young seam bowler to make a great name for herself this year. She's been really impressive, along with Georgina Dempsey, and certainly bodes well for Irish cricket, seeing these very young, fabulous young cricketers coming through the ranks now. In she comes.
Oh, God.
Nicely played. The shout is 2. There should be 2. No.
Lara Moritz just slipping at the
there.
non-strikers. Yep. I think that's a product of being so competitive. You know, there's a lot of girls around that age, around 16, 17, 18, and, you know, going off my own career thus far, you know, having friends around you who are playing for the Ireland team, it forces you to get better, and, you know, you want to be doing what they're doing, and it can only bode well for Irish cricket that they're all pushing each other and trying to get better.
Absolutely. Good over this from Maguire. .75 for 3 now. In comes Maguire. That's a good shot. That's a superb shot. Terrific shot that from Leopold.
Yeah, just stepping across her stumps and helping it along its way, splitting the 2 fielders in the deep, using the pace, and she's batted beautifully. See it there, back deep in the crease and just helping it behind square, splitting the fielders. It's a great shot from Leopold.
On that note, I'll thank you, Harry, very much for your contribution, and I'm delighted now to hand over to Alan Lewis and Gareth Delaney, who will take us home.
there you are, Gareth. Since we've been off air, the tempo of the game has changed, and Moritz and Leopold have really put the Scorchers into a commanding position here, one would think. Unless your sister can do the oracle here, Gareth.
It'd take a miracle from this point, but no, Lara Moritz has come in and pretty much taken the game away from the Typhoons.
That's very good cricket from Lara Moritz. Immediately recognised there was two there. And Leopold responded by running that first run quickly, something that we didn't see early on, Gareth, which was disappointing. But as you say, Lara Moritz has really dragged her partner along with very clever, aggressive play. Played some lovely shots.
Yeah. Certainly been putting the fielders under pressure in the deep anyway. Every time she's been calling for two, even if she hasn't gone back. But just makes you check in the deep, make sure pick the ball up cleanly.
Again, clever cricket. It's always difficult too, left-hand, right-hand combination. I suppose the one area we haven't seen, Gareth, is something that I think the girls can improve on, is the ability to get the ball over the infield straight. And I think it's one area that really over the course of the next period of time, if they can work on that, kind of vary the hitting areas, it'll be so much better for them.
An area they can certainly add to their game. They can start doing things like range hitting. It's the confidence that you need to bring it into a game. To take that risk and know that you can clear the inner field.
Shot. That's a very good shot down the ground. That's good from Leopold. And you talk about range hitting, Gareth. I sense that was something that you really began to work on yourself. When did that really kind of start for you, that you really began to work on that in a big way?
I suppose probably 3 or 4 years ago. Kind of come back from injury. Was kind of probably out of all squads, whatnot. So kind of had the freedom to try new things. Spent a lot of time with my dad up in St. Columba's College. He'd just throw the ball down to me and I'd just try and see how far I could hit it. Just seemed to be the way that worked for me. There's obviously some guys who are more technically correct and can caress the ball, which probably isn't my strong suit. So yeah,
I think you're being hard on yourself there, Gareth, but it's certainly a huge part of your game that I thoroughly enjoyed when we were commentating, should I say, and just the way you immediately adapted and looked so comfortable at international level. It was a joy to watch. I can tell you that now. I mightn't have said it to you privately, but I can now say it publicly, and I think Ireland will be a better team and have a lot more options when you're back at full strength. So we just hope that you get over the injury, you can, and can force your way back into the squad.
It's probably the way international cricket and probably all cricket's gone, really. It's now about kind of the power hitting, trying to maximise boundary percentages as much as you can. It's an area probably in the next game here, the two teams here can probably look up the boundary percentages.
Have you kind of, I suppose you're very much in the hands of your strength and conditioning people within the group at Cricket Ireland, but when are you hoping that you might be ready, as they say, to come back into the fold?
I think we're eyeing up the last Interpro T20 festival in the middle of September, so seem to be happy with the way things are progressing. So started hitting balls last week, a bit rusty, but it was nice to be back doing that. So.
Well, speaking of which, I think one of the great additions this year to the Interprovincial Championship is, of course, a team you missed playing. Well, you certainly played at the start of the year for, but the introduction of Munster, and having done so well, it was a fantastic addition to the Interprovincial Championship.
certainly allowed a lot of lads to be able to showcase what they're capable of. Would have been almost a crime if the likes of Murray Cummins wasn't allowed to play. He's shown what he's capable of. He's batted excellently. I think it's only improved the standard of cricket as well, having the likes of PJ Moore, all his international experience. Bringing that in can only make the local guys get better as well. And then obviously Fionn Hand's probably kicked on really this year with his batting in particular. He's had some very good knocks for us. But yeah,
well, there just seemed to be a great spirit in the team, and it's interesting that you mentioned PJ Moore, because obviously TK got injured, and I certainly think that PJ Moore took to captaincy like a duck to water. He really enjoyed every aspect of it, and challenging bowlers to do certain things and stick with a plan, and it really paid dividends for the Munster team, and they were a great addition to the championship.
It's fantastic that they were able to, especially that last 50 over game, to get a win. I know it meant a lot to the guys being their first year in, because we have been fairly close on occasions to getting over the line, but just haven't seemed to gotten that consistency yet. But over the next year or two, everyone gets more comfortable. Guys who maybe haven't played as much inter-pro cricket, but they've certainly played a lot and delivered for their club sides.
Well, it's also interesting what you talked about, where you said to yourself in terms of that range hitting and trying things. That's the one fantastic thing you've got within club cricket. That's the place to potentially practice it. And I certainly remember a day we were at the blunt end of you. Even though you don't remember, you nearly killed a taxi driver en route to about 130.
Thought it was Joe Carroll that hit the ball into the back seat at the taxi over the Mount Pleasant Avenue end, but
oh no, I remember it was flat hard. It went over. All I heard was this crash. But it was a fantastic innings, and it's been a great pleasure for me to see your progress. And again, the transition of some of the older team into the new now, and everyone kind of fitting so seamlessly into international cricket. An unbelievable win against South Africa, which hopefully will put Ireland in good stead to hopefully even qualify. And of course, this series against Zimbabwe coming up, so important, and so glad that it's now been confirmed as on. So who knows what might happen, Gareth, in terms
it's
of
fantastic series against South Africa. It's amazing to get a win over them, and then obviously the rain kind of helped as well, but we were setting up nicely there in the first game as Freya Sargent comes on to bowl here. But yeah, obviously big series against Zimbabwe as well at home. Probably doesn't suit us actually that they get 5 T20 games to ease their way into the conditions, but I think the guys will take a lot of confidence the way they played against South Africa, and hopefully they can get another few good positive results and can put us in good stead.
Absolutely. Well, this game now, really you'd have to say petering out. The Scorchers just up the tempo, led by Laura Moritz at the non-strikers end, but Leah Paul has played an excellent anchor role and really should be looking to be there at the end, which I dare say she might be, in leading her team to victory here against the Typhoons.
Continuing her good form from the previous T20 fixture in this competition. 60 odd not out in the last game, so she's anchored the innings very well.
And again, excellent running from Paul there. That ball hit that little bit straighter. She immediately knew there was the potential of 2. So 2 away from victory here now for the Scorchers. Just 2 solitary runs required from the remaining 2 overs. Leopold, 44 from 55. She's timed it excellently, but
Probably won't be able to get the 50 now unless I just did a 6 off the last one to win it, but
there's a challenge. You'd love that sort of challenge, wouldn't you?
oh well, she'll be hitting down to the shorter end of the ground. Not sure if she's hitting into the wind though, but the way Maritza's been batting, I wouldn't put it past her to do it. So
good to see the Typhoons fighting to the end here. Jane Maguire has bowled very well throughout. Jane Maguire and fielded excellently. Now bringing fine leg into the circle. Oh, and that's a missed chance there to Ava Canning, and it brings a conclusion to the match. And fittingly, it's Laura Moritz who does the damage, and that's the Scorchers over the line. They win with ease in the end by 7 wickets, chasing 96, and they'll be delighted with that victory. And Leah Paul carrying her bat, which of course is the main objective for an opening batsman, where the win is within your grasp. Be there at the end, 44 not out. She played excellently well, and it's a very good victory against the Typhoons, who were really up against it. But there was a period in the match there, Gareth, where they really were nicking back into the game, a number of dot balls, but Moritz came in and really changed the shape of the match.
yeah, I think her innings, not to do Leopold any disservice, but probably made sure of the result anyway, coming in just after the 10th over there when things were looking a little bit dicey for them, but she batted very well.
Yep, so the Scorchers end up winning by 7 wickets with 10 balls remaining. Leopold finishing on 44 not out and Lara Moritz 29 not out. As we look at the scorecard here, see Gabby Lewis, the big wicket departs. First ball from bowled Ava Canning, dragging on. Well, Emma Richardson looked good for a 7, but unfortunately was dismissed, and there was a little bit of pressure when Lara Moritz came to the wicket, Gareth, but she batted beautifully and took all the pressure off Leopold to just see the game home.
Yeah, starting off her innings brilliantly by scoring 3 or 4 boundaries in quick succession, but there it is there anyway, the winning partnership of the game, 49 between the last 2 there, to see the game home off 40 balls. So,
and that was massive, Gareth, wasn't it? The pressure was all taken off Leopold when Lara Moritz came in. As we have a look at the Typhoons bowling, Ava Canning was excellent up top, 4 overs, 1 for 19. Celeste Rack equal to the task with 4 overs, 1 for 20, but Georgina Dempsey, she just let it go in her last over. That went for 14 or 15, and that was really the over that swung the game, wasn't it? That big over when Lara Moritz came to the wicket, and she really took the game to the Typhoons.
in that middle period there, when it changed, unfortunately, for the Typhoons.
There's the match summary there. Georgina Dempsey batted beautifully for 35 off 31 balls before being run out by the tightest of margins, but she didn't really have much support. Ava Canning came in at the end and she got the Typhoons up to a decent total, but it wasn't to be as the Scorchers came back. Leopold 44 not out. Hannah Little up top for the Scorchers, bowled beautifully, 4 overs, 2 for 9, ably supported by Emma Richardson, who went to just under a run of ball, 2 for 23, ably supported by Leopold, who bowled a beautifully economical spell up top, 3 overs in a row, 1 for 8. For the Typhoons with the ball, Laura Delaney was very good, to her typical self, 2 overs, 1 for 9. Ava Canning, she showed her class, 4 overs, 1 for 19. And it was good to see Celeste Rack back into her groove, bowling beautifully, 4 overs, 1 for 20. But it wasn't to be for the Typhoons today. Shauna Kavanagh and Leopold, they batted very smartly in the middle overs, and when it came to the end, Lara Moritz she came home and she did what Lara Moritz does. She batted beautifully, hitting strong shots down the ground, ably supported by Leah Paul. So now we're going to hand over to Alan Lewis, who's with the man of the match.
Good afternoon. I'm here with the player of the match from the first game between the Typhoons and the Scorchers, and the player of the match is Leah Paul. Leah, you must be delighted with that victory.
Yeah, I think it all started with Hannah Little. She's been deadly with us in the power play, and her spell up front was so good, getting a few key wickets, and then I guess everyone else backed it up in the field and the other bowlers, and then we got the runs just about.
Well, you kind of let them away a little bit in the mid part of the innings, having had them at 17 for 4. We wondered, would 95 on that pitch be a good total?
Yeah, I think Georgina Dempsey came in and showed us what she can do with the bat. Definitely a lot of talent there, and we probably should have held them back, getting most of their top order out early on, but I think we were still happy with chasing 95 with the batting order that we have. We always believed, I guess, we could get it.
And of course Laura came in and joined you, and you really upped the tempo, the pair of you.
Yeah, Lara's great to have in, coming in at the back. She, I guess, is a good boundary hitter and maybe kind of complements my style, not as much of a big hitter, so I guess I was just trying to get her on strike there at the end.
And more importantly for you, you were there at the end, you opened the innings, you saw the side through, you must be thrilled.
Yeah, delighted.
That's fantastic. And there you are, that's our player of the match, Leah Paul. Fantastic innings of 44 not out from 55 deliveries, and we await game 4 in about an hour's time.